Hey people on YouTube land, Zach all back here with their Bible review. Today I'm going to finish up the review copies the KJV store has sent to me. So today we're going to be looking at the Thompson chain large print. And it comes in a nice red box. All their Bibles come in a box for you. And it's a nice thing to put in storage. If you don't have anywhere to put it, it'll keep your Bible safe. But I'll give you a picture of the ISBN number. This box is darker than the rest of the ones they sent, so I don't know if that's consistent, but you can see that's a note taker's box, and there's a Thompson chain, so it's a little bit more of a maroon color. But in any ways, that's a nice place to store your Bible. So just like the other two I showed you, this is lambskin. This is probably thicker than the other two, more matte than the note takers. So you can see the note takers has a little bit more of a shine to it. The Thompson here is a little bit more matte, but it's also thicker than the note taker's lambskin. It is perimeter stitched, so the cover shouldn't come apart on you. Spine is done very well. The printing is very clear. And you have the nice raised spine hubs, very pronounced. I'll give you a shot of the back. This has a pretty good natural grain to it. Some scars and blemishes from the hide, so some natural characteristics of the lambskin. It is imitation leather lined, and also it is going to be tabbed on the block, so the pages are glued together, which adds strength to the binding of the Bible, so it won't fall apart on you. Then it does have black and gold head and tail bands. It comes with 2 ribbon markers, and it does have very nice gold gilding. And the nice thing about the Thompson chain from the KJV store is you do get 2 ribbons. Instead of you bought it from Kirkbride, you only get 1 ribbon. So it's kind of nice. They're nice and long, easy to pull out to the end of the page and use. They are double-sided satin, so it's very nice. And then opening it up, you're going to have a bunch of cardstock in the front. You won't have the presentation page since Thompson is still owned by Kirkbride, so they don't do the presentation pages in this one. But you do get a fair amount of cardstock. And then the presentation page. And you'll get an index of the books of the Bible and the page number they start on, but it doesn't have the chapter numbers. Here's some of the copyright information. And then they're going to give you a breakdown on how to actually use the Thompson. And if you're looking to actually know how to use the Thompson chain, I have a bunch of videos on that already. If you want to scroll through my page, they're about 20-minute videos that explain how to actually use the Thompson chain system, but I'm just doing an overall review of this Bible today. So it is important to read that. If you do get that, go ahead and scan through that. But then you get to the Genesis chapter 1, and it gives you a nice little picture at the front of the river of inspiration. So it has the Old Testament books, and the histories, poetry, major prophets, minor prophets, and you get into the New Testament. So that's a cool little chart. The large print Thompson is a 9-point font, so it's a point size bigger than the mid-size Thompson. You'll have a chapter introduction for each chapter, and then at the beginning of the book you'll have who the author is, the key chain, and then the analysis of the book. It's a double column, verse by verse, and it does have the Pilcrow markers to show you where the paragraph ends and where a new one begins. And then you're going to have your references in the 2 side columns. And you'll have these numbers that will point you to the back of the Bible. But just to show you this 9-point font, here's the mid-size Thompson. And the mid-size Thompson is an 8-point font. So you can see that the 9-point definitely looks a lot bigger. The references in the column are a little bit easier to read. But it's the same Bible, so the pages are the exact same, everything's on the exact same page. The chapters and the verses are all the same. It's just you get a little bit larger font with the large print Thompson. However, with that, you do get a bigger footprint, so this Bible is slightly bigger than the mid-size. As you can see there, it's probably about a 1/2 inch wider and maybe close to 3/4 of an inch taller. So it's about 10 3/4 by 7. So about 11 by 7 is a pretty good size Bible. The paper on this one is actually thicker than the mid-size Thompson. It's really nice. The ghosting you can see a little bit when it's not lined up. At the top of the page, you'll have a running page header, which tells you what's on that page. Then you'll have your book and the chapter and verse number at the top, page number at the bottom. And you do get a decent margin around this, so if you want to add any notes or references, you absolutely could do that. Every book begins on a new page in the Thompson, which is really nice because that means you can add more notes at the end of a book. See that? And then getting into the poetry section, it's laid out the same as the rest of the Bible. So there's a picture of Psalms for you. It is a red letter edition. It's a very nice red, probably more on the pink side of red than on the orange side of red. So it's very nice. Sometimes it gets a little inconsistent, and this is how the Thompson text block is, but it's very well done. And nice thing is, once you get into the New Testament, you do have these little summaries on the side here, which will help you as you go through the passage to understand it. The Thompson is self-pronouncing, so go to Matthew chapter 1 to show you that. So here's the title page for the New Testament, red letter edition. And then you're going to have in a picture of the Old Testament and the New Testament. So you have the Old Testament being fulfilled by the New Testament, and he gives you an example of that with that picture, which is a really cool one. But here's Matthew, and you can see that pretty much every single name has a self-pronunciation marks. So if you like that, that's definitely going to be a plus for you. If you don't, it could get kind of annoying when you're reading. So here's just a shot of the text so you guys can look at it. It is really nice. The 9-point is definitely easier to read, and I think even if you have slight vision problems, you could read this pretty easily. The font is pretty dark and bold, which also helps with the readability. So once you get past Revelation, it is red letter all the way through, even through Revelation. So you get to the end, and then you're going to have all your helps. So you're going to have a general index here at the beginning to look up any topic. So if you can't remember the number, you can come back here and look up the topic, and it'll tell you what number it is. So then you can go to the numerical index and look up that number and get all the references for that topic. And in the back here, everything is linked to a number. So even the maps and the charts and the trees, life trees, where they tell you about like the tree of Jesus or the tree of Abraham, those will all be linked with numbers as well in the back. But a lot of charts, a lot of different studies and maps and references to help you. Definitely one of the best study Bibles. Then you're going to get an archaeological supplement in the back. So if you want to know about a city or maybe a biblical artifact, they do have a lot of information in the back on that. And then you do have a short glossary for words in the King James that may be obsolete, that we don't use all the time, and it's going to give you more of a modern definition. And then you get into the Thompson Concordance, which is one of the best. It's a very thick concordance, 3 columns, so you're going to have a lot of references, and this easily goes over 100 pages. And then you get to the Thompson Maps. There's some unique maps in the Thompson here. These are like archaeological sites in the Bible. And then you'll have the archaeological sites of the Bible times, so all around the Middle East. Then nice maps on the children of Israel. These are printed on a thicker, glossier cardstock page. And once we get to the back, you're going to have a lot more cardstock, so you could use that for notes, writing different prayers or things in it. Or if you're a preacher, maybe you could write in where you preached at and what you preached on. But a very well-made Bible. The lambskin's amazing. There's another shot of the corners here for you. It's very well put together. So this Bible costs $119 from their website. I think this is really worth it, especially if you go to buy a new Thompson chain. Their genuine leather, which is not anywhere as close as good as this, is going to be almost $120. So you might as well get the better lambskin for $119 to save $1, and it's a lot better construction. It's going to last you a lot longer. So I'll give you a general size again of the mid-size Thompson compared to the large print. And then one more shot of the font for you. So I encourage you, if you're looking for a larger print Thompson, maybe your eyes can't handle the mid-size because the font's too small, this is definitely a good one to go with. And it's not really that big. It's a good size Bible, but I don't think, you could carry this to church easily and use it, in my opinion. And it's a good desk Bible for you too. So you could definitely do devotions out of this and study out of this. The font is easy to read. The paper is very white, which makes the font pop off the page. Makes it a little bit easier to read for you. And the shine on the paper is not as bad in the large print as it is in the mid-size. So that's also another bonus right now. So if you're interested in this Bible, go to the KJV store and pick up one. They can also put your name in here, name imprinting for an extra $. So again, Lambskin takes that very well. So if you want to do that, I would definitely encourage you to do that. I hope this review has been a blessing to you. And if you have any questions or comments, just leave those down in the comment section, and I will get to those as soon as I can. Thank you, and God bless.